Hello everybody, welcome to Tim's Motorcycle Adventures. Today we are checking out the 2016 Tiger 800 XCA. If you like this, hey, why don't you hit that subscribe button for me? I'm trying to hit 1,000 subscribers this year. Help me out and just click that button and then we'll get into it.
All right, well, if you've been following this channel for a while, you know I've had this bike for a while. I've done a lot of different kinds of riding on it. I think I know it quite well. I've done long days, lots of touring. I've done lots of off-road, just gravel roads, single track, all of that kind of stuff. And now it's time to get rid of it. And so I thought I would do one last review on this bike and kind of give you a sense of what I think of it, why I'm getting rid of it, and if you should buy one if you're in the market for an older adventure bike.
All right, well, in general, I have absolutely loved this bike. Really, it has been very, very good to me. There's very little that I don't like about it. There's a few things that I'll get to, but any bike you can pick apart and have issues with. So this is really no different. So some of the things that I love about the Tiger is, well, the reason I bought it initially is I wanted an adventure bike that I could take off-road and do some long trips with. But also take on some logging roads and do some adventure riding with, and learn how to do gravel and off-road and a few of those things. And so it would really fit the bill quite well for me. I compared it directly to the BMW F800 GS, and yeah, I really didn't like that bike. It rode really just fine, but the engine was very industrial. It was very boring, and I really just didn't like the engine at all. And so at one of the dealerships, they had a Tiger 800 there, the road version, and they let me take it for a test drive, and I absolutely fell in love with this engine. This engine is a lot of fun. It revs out to 10,000 RPM. It sounds great. It just is a phenomenal, flexible, good engine. Now, this one obviously has the 21-inch front wheel. And so let's talk a little bit about handling as I go around this traffic circle. 21-inch wheel helps. It does slow down the handling just a little bit on the road, especially compared to the 19-inch of the roadie version that I rode. But unless you're riding them back to back, I don't know if you could really tell a difference. It handles quite well. Sure, it's a tall adventure bike, so it handles different than say, a sport bike. That's got to be a given, right?
One downside is there is the Tiger whistle, and it kind of it's okay at first. It's kind of different, but it does kind of grate on you after a couple years of riding.
Now, the other downside of this engine, although I love it very much on the road, the one downside is when you start going off-road. Off-road, it doesn't have a lot of torque down low compared to the big 1200s and stuff, and I just feel like you have to really rev it up a lot to really feel confident that I'm not going to stall it, and that maybe that's me, maybe that's my lack of skill off-road, maybe it's just in my own head. I don't know, but I always felt like, especially at slow speeds, that the bike was going to stall, and it always gave me that impression that unless I just slipped the clutch, it was going to stall. And so one time we were out doing single track, and I actually burnt out a clutch because I was slipping it so much. Now, that's my fault. It's my bad riding. but still, it's you know, one of the downsides of this engine. Just maybe it's the gearing. I even have a smaller tooth up front to try to give me more better gearing off-road. It ups the RPM on the highway a little bit, but for my riding on the island, that doesn't really matter. So, you know, maybe it's a bit of that, but definitely for me, it's one of the things that it's not that great.
Okay, let's talk about luggage. The XCA comes with these luggage racks. They're Triumph branded, but they're actually Givi racks, and so they're perfect to strap bags onto. And I put soft bags on here. If you have hard bags, they click on as well. But I like to use the soft bags on this. I put a Givi top box rack, and I have a top box for it. I use that all the time. I put a tank lock bag on here because if you put a tank bag on this matte paint, it scuffs it up and you really can't fix it. And so that's really one of the drawbacks to matte paint like this is it's really hard to fix if it gets scuffed. And so I have a few little scratches and scuffs in it, and that's just the way it is with matte paint.
Okay, let's get some of the other downsides out of the way. The brakes are just okay. I don't know. I kind of would like a little bit more out of brakes. I would like a little bit more feel. I would like a little more bite. Maybe they did that on purpose because they're assuming you're going to do off-road tires and they don't have as much grip. Sure, let's give them the benefit of the doubt there, but I think the brakes could be just a little bit better. All right, let's talk about some of the things that I absolutely love. I love this view. This is spectacular. I love riding down this road. The beach is beautiful. It's a little distracting from trying to ride. Some of the other things I love about this bike, man, the suspension. I think the suspension is great. For a solo rider. It could, for you know, a bit of a bigger guy like myself, all loaded up with luggage, the rear shock struggles a little bit, but overall, I think the suspension has been fantastic. It's fully adjustable. I adjusted it when I got the bike, never touched it again.
Okay, let's talk about some of the other accessories. This bike has Outback Motortech crash bars and skid plate. Those are phenomenal, like top notch. I've dropped my bike several times. They have a few scratches on the bars, not a big deal. It protects the engine, it protects the whole bottom really well. It's a very thick skid plate. I've hit some pretty good sized rocks and never an issue. That's a phenomenal upgrade if you're gonna get one of these and you need some crash protections. Outback Motortech is the way to go.
All right, I love the power of it. It's good. It's not a complete rocket ship, but man, when it starts whining out there, I love that. It's just got a growly 3-cylinder sound. Really love that. It's a lot of fun. Okay, let's talk about the seat. The seat. I have put a lot of miles on this. Obviously, if you've been following the channel, I took it all the way up to Tuktoyaktuk. That is on the Arctic Ocean in northern Canada. And it was an amazing trip. I did, what was it, almost 9,000 kilometers in 11 days. The seat is not made for that. It's good, it's okay for long trips, but man, was I sore at the end of that. It is heated, which is great. It's got the little heated buttons, heated front and rear, and that's great. It has, you know, fog lights and heated grips, and that's fantastic. And all of those things are good. But the padding on the seats, the shape of it, it's not the greatest seat. But I put a lot of miles on it and haven't put the money in to fix it. So, you know, it can't be that bad, right? It's still doing just fine. Okay, one more downside, I guess, is the windscreen. The wind protection is okay. obviously, again, I've done a lot of miles on this bike. This little flappy thing up here, although many people on video complain that it's in the way, especially when it's dirty, I get it. However, without this, I get all of the air right in my helmet, and it becomes really, really loud. And that's fine if it's really hot out and I just need the air on my face. But otherwise, the windshield isn't that great. And you know, it's it really bounces around a lot as well, and that kind of, like, I just have got used to it. But I had a friend ride my bike the other day, and he was like, yeah man, your windshield really bounces around a lot. I'm like, oh yeah, I guess it does. And this is not the stock windshield, this is actually the Triumph Touring windscreen, so it's a little bit bigger. Believe it or not, the stock windshield is worse. Yeah, it's just not very good. Now, there are lots of different options out there. I have a friend that also has a Tiger, and he has a different windscreen that works great and it looks terrible. So it's a bit of a trade-off, I guess. But you know, that's just it's kind of the way wind protection goes on some bikes. Okay, riding position, it's excellent. I added these 2-inch risers because when I stand off-road, I needed them to be higher. The standard riding position is quite low, and it's a bit more in that sporty road position. But I want to take this off-road. I want to be a little more comfortable, so I put these 2-inch risers on, and now it's perfect. I really like it, whether standing or sitting. You know, even standing, it's quite comfortable, and I don't have to bend over and like really hunch to the bars. I can actually just be a lot more comfortable. One thing that I love is cruise control. Oh man, it is going to be so hard when I don't have cruise control on a bike, especially if you're doing a lot of miles. Man, it is so nice. It's just, you know, your hand gets really tired after a couple hours, and you just hit that little button, and it just, oh, there you go. You just relax your hand, and especially if it's straight open prairies, it is an absolute lifesaver. Absolutely love it. The lighting on the bike, it has these spotlights, and I put in LED bulbs because I just needed a little bit more light, and one of my bulbs burnt out. So hey, why not? And so it's okay. It's not you know, spectacular. I've had better bikes, I've had worse bikes, but it's been good.
Well, one other downside I think that I have with the Tiger is the center stand. For some reason, it's really hard to get this bike on the center stand, especially if you're loaded up with luggage. And you need to get it on the center stand on long trips at the side of the road to oil the chain. But for whatever reason, it's just really difficult to get it on the center stand. I have a BMW 1200 GS now, and it's super easy to get on the center stand, even though it's a bigger, heavier bike. I don't know if they just mismeasured or what the geometry is, but for whatever reason, it's kind of hard to get it on the center stand, and that's just kind of annoying.
To me, the whole point of an adventure bike is that it doesn't do like one thing amazing. You know, it's not the sportiest bike. It's not the most comfortable bike. It's not the best off-road. It's not the best long-distance tour. It's not the best, you know, commuter bike. But it does all of those things like 80–90%, right? And I think that's the whole point to me of an adventure bike like this, is if I want to go on a single track and push myself a little bit, I've done it. Logging roads, great. Long distance, sporty riding, I mean, all of it. It just does it, and it does it all pretty well. And so that's what I really love about this bike. It just does everything really well. And I'm actually, I think I'm going to kind of miss it. You know, there's other bikes, and I love trying all kinds of bikes, but I might actually miss this bike quite a bit. All right, let's get onto the highway here. Here we go. Whoa! See, and what it helps too is you set the cruise, and it helps you to not speed too, right? So that's kind of nice. If you feel like you're going to go too fast, well, hey, you know, maybe you just set the cruise and calm yourself right down. I guess while we're here, we can talk about the gauges, instrumentation. All of the new fancy bikes are coming with big TFT displays and real fancy stuff, right? And so the question is, how is it with the old school? The great big RPM dial, and then a bunch of little numbers. How is it? Well, honestly, I love it. This tack is just I love when the tack is the focal point, right? And it's like, I don't care about the speed, I want to know how the RPM are doing. And I just think that looks really cool. I think that even the new school, you know, with TFT screens and stuff, they try to fake a tack in there. I don't like that. I like an old school tack like this. It's got all the lights in there and everything and whatever, and you know, it tells you how much fuel you got, tells you engine temperature, it tells you, you know, speed and all the things that you need to know. And what more could you want, right? Like I think this is really what I want in a motorcycle. Tack, gauges. I don't care about the big screen. That just kind of, I don't know. I look at a screen too much during the day. I like the old school look here. Well, one of the big complaints of the Tiger 800 is engine heat. If you do any research online, lots of people kind of complain about it. And so how bad really is it? Well, I'm in Canada. Very rarely do I ride when it's too hot. I guess in the summertime, I guess sometimes it gets kind of hot, but most of the time when I ride, it's kind of like this, like 16 degrees. And so I can feel some engine heat right now because I'm just wearing jeans. I'm not wearing my riding pants. When I'm riding my riding pants, I don't feel any heat from the engine. Even when it's really hot, I mean, you're hot anyway. You are sitting on top of an engine. But with just jeans on, I just went out for a little ride to make this video. I normally wear my riding pants, but I can feel a little bit on my right leg, a little bit of engine heat coming off of there. At the moment, it's nice because it's only 16 degrees. It's not really that hot out, and so that's kind of nice. But when it is a really hot day, you do feel the engine heat. Some other bikes might be much better. If you live in Texas, that might be a problem for you. I don't know, but for me in Canada, it's kind of a benefit, honestly. Oh, hey, there's Matt. I'm gonna put Matt in my video, and he won't even know. Okay, well, let's talk a little bit about this bike off-road. I've done a lot of different kinds of off-road. This bike does better than others. If you're talking like logging roads and gravel roads, you put some 50/50 tires on it, and it is phenomenal. The handling is great. Even over big rocks and stuff, the 21-inch front wheel does just fine. As long as you have some confidence and you are moving. It's when you get into really slow technical speeds that it starts to struggle a little bit. I find it a little bit top heavy. The gas tank is up high, and I feel like when I'm on a trail, I'm always a little bit worried that it's gonna tip over. The center of gravity just feels quite high, and so off-road and technical stuff, I think it's not what I kind of was looking for, and so that's why I'm actually selling it. I'm trying out a oh, hold on, bud. I'm trying out a a BMW 1200 GS Adventure. And although it's a bigger bike, I have some big trips coming up as well. And part of it is I just want to try that one out for a while. But I was just surprised at how low the center of gravity is on that bike. And so yeah, that's kind of one of the things that, one of the reasons why I'm selling this bike. Okay, well, we're back where we started. So thank you for watching this video. Hopefully it was helpful. And if you enjoyed this content, please hit like and subscribe. And make sure you tune in to the next one. Thanks for riding along. Oh, spring is in the air. Smell the ocean, all the flowers are out. What a beautiful day. Oh, I love living here.